Okay, let's unpack this. We're doing a deep dive today into Job, specifically chapter 17.
Right.
And our goal is really to pull out the most powerful ideas from Job's own words here in this really, really bleak moment presented in the text.
hmm
And it starts immediately, doesn't it? Job's state is just right there.
Absolutely. The source jumps straight into Job's deep despair. His spirit's broken. He says his days are cut short.
The grave is waiting.
Exactly. It's more than just sadness. The language used here, it suggests this profound um, exhaustion, an expectation of death that's really striking.
And yet, it says he's surrounded by mockers. He's not just alone in his suffering, he's facing active hostility.
Yeah, and that's key. It highlights this crushing isolation, even when people are physically present.
So he feels completely misunderstood.
And actively opposed, yeah. Which, well, it drives him to speak directly to God. He asks for a pledge, like a guarantee.
Because there's no one else.
No one else he sees standing for him. And interestingly, the text adds that God has closed their minds to understanding.
So Job believes they're actually incapable of getting it, not just unwilling.
That seems to be his perspective here, yes. Like there's a fundamental block.
Okay, and then there's that really specific, kind of jarring detail that follows about a man denouncing friends for a reward.
Ah, yes. And the consequence is that the eyes of his children will fail.
What's the impact of that specific image right there?
Well, it feels like a really stark condemnation. Maybe it reflects how Job sees the base motives behind the betrayal he feels from his own friends.
And the consequence on the children. It makes it seem incredibly serious.
It does. It underlines the gravity of turning on your companions, especially for personal gain, as the source puts it.
And this ties into the public shame, too, doesn't it? He says God made him a byword.
Yeah, a figure of common scorn, basically.
And a man in whose face people spit. I mean, that's incredibly visceral. This isn't private grief anymore.
No, the text makes it clear his suffering is intensely public, deeply humiliating.
And it even manifests physically, according to the source.
Right. His eyes are dim with grief. His body is just a shadow. It's like the physical decay is mirroring the spiritual and social collapse described in these verses.
But what's fascinating, I think, is how the source then presents the reactions of others alongside Job's state.
Yeah, that contrast.
It says, upright men are appalled, the innocent are aroused against the ungodly, but then right after, nevertheless, the righteous will hold to their ways and grow stronger.
It's a complex picture, isn't it? You get shock, indignation from some.
But also this quiet perseverance from others.
Exactly. But the point for Job, as it's presented here, is that none of this actually helps him. None of it translates into comfort or real understanding for him.
So he just dismisses them, challenges his friends again, saying, I will not find a wise man among you.
Pretty much. His own plans are shattered, his desires broken. He's left totally alone in his anguish, even with these other reactions happening around him.
And that disconnect is maybe captured in that imagery about turning night into day.
Yes. These men turn night into day. In the face of darkness, they say, light is near.
It sounds like he sees their words, maybe their attempts at comfort, as completely false, out of touch with his reality.
Exactly. It captures that profound disconnect. They're claiming hope or light in what Job experiences as just utter darkness. It really underlines his isolation. Right. Their comfort feels like lies.
Which leads him, towards the end of the chapter, to this ultimate expression of despair.
Where he declares the grave is the only home he expects.
Making his bed in darkness.
And claiming kinship with decay itself. Addressing corruption as my father and the worm as my mother or my sister. It's incredibly bleak.
It's like he's completely aligned himself with death. There's nothing left in the land of the living for him.
Nothing. He asked that devastating question. Where then is my hope? Who can see any hope for me?
And the implied answer in the text
is that his hope goes down with him, to the gates of death, into the dust. These verses paint a picture where, really, his entire being is already conceptually in the grave.
So chapter 17 leaves us with this incredibly stark image, a mind just wrestling with total despair, feeling abandoned by everyone, even God, it seems, and finding the only sort of belonging in death.
A raw, unfiltered portrayal of suffering and alienation. Really powerful.
It really is. So based purely on these verses we've looked at, if Job's hope is literally linked only to the earth, to decay, what does that suggest to you, listening now, about finding meaning or even comfort when everything, absolutely everything you rely on, has crumbled? According to this ancient text, anyway. Something to think about.